Okay, here we go. This is one of my favorite exercises. This one is called Write It Backwards. When you think about it, it's pretty strange that we always write in one direction. And in fact, most beginning composer students of mine are always going, it's like stream of consciousness. It's like they don't think about the third chord until they've already come up with the second chord. They don't think about the fourth melodic phrase until they've come up with the third. Well, why not write the ending first? I mean, in many ways, if you're writing a story, the ending is often the most important part. The beginning and the ending are the most important part, and then the plot, the story is how you connect the two. Or, Jerry Seinfeld says about writing jokes, he says it's the same thing as writing music, writing poetry, writing a great story. You make an outrageous statement and you prove it to be true. That's the key to a great joke. It's also the case with great stories. If you had a story with a crazy ending, like the way Romeo and Juliet ends, where these two lovers end up committing suicide, both of them, that's an extremely dramatic ending. There must be some explanation of events leading up to that moment that would explain such a horrific ending to a story, and Shakespeare did that. So when we write chord changes and melodies and all these different things, why wouldn't we start at the end? Know a little bit where we're headed when we're at the beginning. But sometimes we don't do that. We're just writing it just in order, and then we get to the end of the song, we're like, this doesn't make any sense. So that's why it's so important to write backwards. Another reason why it's important to write backwards are for some more practical little things. One of my favorite things to do is write the bridge backwards, because one of the most important feelings in any song is that moment where you exit the bridge and then you re-enter your A section, that section that has been playing through the whole song. And when you release and you get right back to that first chord, it should sound awesome. It should sound really awesome, right? But sometimes if we're writing the bridge and let's say it's 8 bars and we're like chord 1, chord 2, chord 3, chord 4, chord 5, chord 6, chord 7, chord 8, and we've never considered the ending point. We've never considered that 9th bar, which is actually the first bar of the A. We get to chord 8 and we're like, oh, that doesn't really go back to where we were going. How many times have you experienced that, right? That's like a very common thing that we deal with all the time. Write it backwards. Know where your end goal is before you get there, and then go backwards. Also, another tip, if you are going to have an awkward moment between two chords, don't make it between the last chord of the bridge going back into the A. Put it in like bar 5 of the bridge or something, or bar 3. No one will even notice. But if that last chord in bar 8 going back into the A is just right, that's such a landmark moment. You really want to make sure that that's intact, that's strong. Okay, so let's give this a shot. For this example, I'm going to do a tune. Let's do E flat. I don't think I've done anything in E flat today. Then I'm going to go to a bridge. The bridge will be in some really dramatically different key, like let's say G major. Okay, so that's 4 keys away. See, there we go. Now coming back to E flat, I'm going to have a clever way to do it. And I have a feeling there's so many different ways I can do it. But let's come up with a simple melody, really simple melody, like 3 notes every couple bars. Maybe in the key of E flat, I'll go from, the chords will be like the 2 chords of the 6th chord. So let's go like F minor. Yeah, let's go 2 to the 3 to the 4. So the 3 chord. Then for the bridge, let's start in G major. Now, we've got the first chord, the first moment of the bridge. Now coming back, we're gonna have to get to F minor again, with our melody note being E flat. So going backwards, immediately I might consider a few things. What if we played the 5 chord of F, Right? That's a really common option, like C altered. Or maybe, the melody note is actually G. So maybe A flat is my top note for this C altered voicing, which leads me perfectly into F. That's like a perfect guiding tone. A flat down to G. So now what leads to C alt? And I kind of want to be thinking what's getting us closer to G, like maybe C major. That's like really close. And now going backwards from there, let's do E minor. So now I've got 3 chords preceding the top of the A. I've got E minor, C major, C alt. Take me back to that F minor chord. That's pretty nice. So now I've got, like, I've come backwards enough to where I'm like already in G major. And now I've got all this first part of the bridge where I can just write stuff in G major. Like, let's go the 1 chord to the 6 chord, the 4 chord, then again. Maybe the melody's just pedaling on 1 note, just for now, just because it's easy. So I can make my point. Yeah, that moment of coming back from the bridge into the A is so strong because I considered that landmark moment, before writing bar 2, bar 3, bar 4 of the bridge, which to me is often not as pivotal. That's not as important a plot point to me as coming out of the bridge and back into the A. A phrase that I learned once, and this works for macro stuff like life skills, and then on the micro level when it comes to writing a bridge. Schedule the important stuff first. Whether you're trying to prioritize your family, and you got to schedule that first. Don't try to fit it in at the, around everything else. Whether you're trying to get in shape at the gym, book that time first, right? Or whether you're trying to write a really good tune and you want the right moments to be really strong, write those first. Don't write it forwards. Write it backwards. To summarize this exercise, once again, write a tune, write an A section, and then when you get to that bridge, write the last bar of the bridge first, which goes back into the first bar of the A. Write backwards maybe 2 or 3 bars just to get you back into like that original key. And then you can write forwards after that, but write it backwards first.